What's it going to take to get you back in the office? A lot of people out there are maybe hesitant. You know, for us, I don't know how weird our place is, but next Monday is official hashtag old normal, back to work.
It's only weird because many companies have started yesterday.
They already started? Okay,
yeah,
some others. And others have different dates on the calendar, I'm going to assume. But not everybody was excited about coming back, surprisingly enough. Not everybody was all fired up. So companies have been offering, what do I want to say, bennies? Enticements, incentives, if you will. Joining us right now is Joel Patterson, a workplace expert. And Joel, first off, thank you for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure to be here. Good morning to you both.
So help me understand. I'm going to guess, is it some of the benefits that companies are offering to entice workers to come back? Is it driven by different industries? Is there an arms race? Because I'm going to say it nicely. I don't think they gave us anything here to come back.
Well, maybe now's your chance to negotiate.
Now's our chance.
Yeah, right?
But in general, it's very difficult to recruit, retain quality people these days. It's not just one industry. Almost every industry is feeling the pinch to some extent. But employers are looking at unique ways to get people to come in. Whether it's some things like daycare things, that's been around for a long time. But I'll give you an example of one that we do here personally is, we have a facilities manager that takes care of our buildings. His name is Jose. And, but we don't need Jose to work full time doing that. And so we have Jose for a day as a benefit. And it allows people to, you know how hard it is to get a handyman.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, and we trust Jose. He's a great guy. He's very talented. And it becomes a benefit for people to be able to get some work at home done for free.
Okay, that is genius.
Jose for a day.
It is so difficult to find a handyman.
Sure.
Oh, is Jose available for everyone? Or
he's not giving out Jose's number. We're using him.
That is a great incentive. But you know what I've been hearing mostly from a lot of people I know who have had to go back to the office. They don't have to go back all 5 days.
Like more flex
3 days,
time?
more and that I think appeals to a lot of people. And it kind of eases them in, right, to getting back to the office?
Yeah, I think that's the hope, is that there would be an easing back in. But there's no doubt that hybrid is king. I don't know very many employers these days who aren't at least considering a hybrid model as we move forward. 2 or 3 days in the office, 2 or 3 at home seems to be the norm. And if your industry supports it, you can expect that to become the norm, and you can definitely use that during negotiations. Right now there are a lot of people on the move. It's kind of counterintuitive because you would think that a lot of people would just be sitting tight, but it's not the case. And a lot of it is around people being unhappy with the culture at the organization where they work. And if half the people in the business world are looking to find a new employer, most of them are saying the reason for it is because their culture and how they behaved during the pandemic did not live up to standards. So It's really important that you spend time making sure your people are valued.
We're talking to Joel Patterson, a workplace expert. That's interesting that they're reflecting back and they think that during this time of stress and difficulty that their company didn't do enough, if you will, and that's leading them to find greener pastures.
That's not to say that they weren't already considering it before, but if that did occur during the pandemic, if they didn't feel like they were being taken care of by their employer, then yeah, it's absolutely going to make it that much more common that they're going to look for something else. One other thing I'll mention that employers should think about is to make sure that you're looking at any process that you have that touches people these days, because every time you interact with them, you have an opportunity to make sure that they feel valued. And that's really, at the end of the day, what you've got to do in order to keep them engaged, motivated, and doing what you need them to do from an employer perspective.
Wow.
Oh, so maybe just, a pat on the back or a handshake rather than something physical.
Well, it's amazing what a difference that makes. We have something we call Cheers for Peers, where you can just post on a Slack channel and say, hey, this person helped me out today. And that just getting a little bit of recognition.
Yeah, acknowledgement.
It really changes your day and brings a smile to their face, and that's never a bad thing.
I'd still like Jose for a day, but
Jose for a
I'll
day
take
is
both.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, again, we're talking to workplace expert Joel Patterson. Joel, so let's dream. Let's dream the impossible dream. Since this is your industry, you pay attention to it. What are some of the, I'm going to use the term outrageous or high-end benefits that some employers are using out there, just so I can salivate?
The biggest thing that I see a lot of is just signing bonuses. That has never been.
Explain to me what that is. No, explain to me what that is. I have never heard of one of those in my industry.
Yeah, no matter what industry you're in,
It's
if
coming.
you feel good about signing that piece of paper and you get a few $100 extra in your pocket, it's likely to motivate you. It's the same thing that employers are using to get people to get vaccinated. Sometimes if you just throw a little bit of money out there, you'd be surprised at what a difference it makes. So anything around salary, being able to really get a bump in pay, I'm seeing that a lot more, even in industries where that isn't necessarily typical. But that might also cause you to have to look for an actual new employer. So you really have to kind of balance that. If you're happy where you are, I'd encourage you not to necessarily go looking for the sake of looking. Go talk to your employer and make sure they know that there's other opportunities out there. You really want to stay, but you also have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your family.
That they're being competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, stay competitive.
I feel like when people head back to the office, it's just going to be, it's going to look, and everything's just going to be different. The tone is going to be so different.
It is, and it's like a reunion. It's like a class reunion or something, because you run into people who haven't seen each other in a year, maybe longer, and haven't had an opportunity to catch up. They've seen each other potentially on Zoom calls and things, but haven't had the space or the time just to have a conversation. And that's really where the magic starts to happen and gets people excited to come back into the office.
Joel, appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Always, thank you.